And I'm going to choose a prompt, which will be a jester whose joke didn't land. Interesting. Let's see if I can think of any scenarios where that would work well. Maybe. So we have a courtier being humiliated as a jester trying to woo a princess, a jester acting as a distraction during an assassination attempt, a jester who's held captive because his joke didn't land, a jester that is captured by an envying kingdom and held hostage for information about the monarch. Right now I am leaning towards either a jester acting as a distraction during an assassination attempt, or a jester that is captured by an enemy kingdom and held hostage for information about the monarch. Since these stories are honestly meant to be mainly scenes, like they're just meant as practice scenes more than anything, it's only supposed to be anywhere from 4 to like 800 words. I think a jester who's held captive by an enemy kingdom would be interesting. Yeah, I think I'm going with that. I have an idea. The Smirking Jester. 3 days doesn't seem like a long time to go without food when your belly is full. But Andrew certainly knew the true meaning of hunger by the time the so-called King of Rythe came to them again. His throat felt swollen, and it took all of his concentration to focus on the words the furious man spat at them. Princess Patricia was shivering in fear next to him. The silk of her skirts was weighed down by the dust and grime that littered their prison cell. For a child who had only ever eaten the finest of every harvest, she didn't complain about the moldy bread that was unceremoniously tossed at their feet. She had ate it primly, sitting straight as she could with the shackles around her tiny wrists. At first they had split what little they were given, but by a week in, the princess had developed a rattling cough, and the jester knew that she would need whatever food she could get. The guards were already jumpy, having such a high-class prisoner to watch over. The last thing he needed was to watch the princess be stabbed by a spear due to her coughs echoing through the damp dungeon. Yet with their captor standing before them, Andrew wondered whether he should have kept some of the bread for himself. The deceiver's torchlit figure was swimming in front of his eyes, stretching and widening as the jester tried to focus his vision on the gold crown sitting on the man's graying hair. He gritted his teeth. The last time he had seen that crown, it had been coated in King Vincent's blood. It had slipped off his head, slick with its wearer's carnage. Now it was glinting in the light, bright and bold upon the pretender's head. "I didn't know you liked playing dress-up, Regan. A rather odd pastime for the captain of the guard, wouldn't you say?" Andrew tried to smirk, but he was pretty sure he ended up looking more like a drunkard than anything. His head lolled to the side, the weight of it too heavy to carry. The princess glanced up at him, her eyes wide. She gripped onto one of his fingers, her small hand coated in sweat. Regan stepped forward, his eyes narrowing into slits. Roughly, he picked up the jester by the front of his shirt, caring little for the way the blonde's shackled wrists twisted unnaturally. The warmth of the young princess's hand slipped away, the limitations of her own shackles keeping her stranded on the cold cobblestone floor. "I am your king. Hot spittle sprayed across Andrew's face as the words bounced off the crumbling walls. The Jester would have flinched back in disgust if not for the pain burning through his arms. Instead, he put all his energy into staring directly into the Pretender's gaze. Maybe it was the delirium or whatever madness had overtaken the captain, but his eyes bounced around in their sockets. The Jester drew closer, the pain concentrating his mind enough to properly smirk. "You are not my king." The end.